everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with some uplifting stories across the country. Let's start off in California. I think some of us could use a lesson from the young lady we're about to introduce you to. A brave 10-year-old girl worked up the courage to face her fears rather than run away from them. And as Jeff Zevely reports, the young gymnast is showing the world you don't need sight to reach for the stars.
These ones are some of the scariest monkey bars I personally have ever done.
10-year-old Paisley Keller is a high-flying 5th grader.
There are so many different types of monkey bars. I like the challenge.
She can't see anything.
Paisley's mother, Denise, says it took time and testing for doctors to determine she was born blind.
It took us about 9 months to get the confirmation. And, I grieved that, but what I got out of it was the most amazing child.
How old were you when you started all this?
Maybe 4.
Oh, you're fine.
Paisley loved the way monkey bars made her feel.
Oh crap, this is terrifying.
It's not surprising Paisley met her best friend
This is Cora.
on a playground.
Remember, Cora, you can skip backwards.
At recess, normally she teaches me how to do monkey bars and stuff.
She teaches you.
Yeah. She's way better than me.
Come on, Cora, just go.
Whether it's at the gym or a fun day at the fair.
You will never see anything more beautiful than their friendship.
Instead of Olympic medals, San Diego Gymnastics is rolling out hearts of gold. You have to close your eyes and go do everything that Paisley just did.
Isn't it amazing?
It is. Paige Conroy is the CEO of 6 locations.
We have many programs for all kids and all abilities.
Paige sees courage and confidence in every kid.
When kids come through our programs, they're learning not only strength, coordination, balance, but they're also learning resilience. They're learning fearlessness.
Oh my God.
Whether Paisley's climbing a rope,
I got it.
attacking the uneven bars,
Do you need a hand on this?
No, I think I got it.
or tight walking the balance beam. How do you deal with the fear?
Suck it up.
That's an answer that would make any mother proud.
I really consider myself the luckiest mom because I love her so much.
And when I asked Paisley about her biggest dream in life,
Making sure my children aren't failures at monkey bars.
someday Paisley plans to offer this advice to her kids.
Find something you really like, and then just keep doing that.
Instead of getting hung up about what your child can and can't do,
I wouldn't change a thing about her, and that's what I love about her. She wouldn't change a thing about herself either. She always says, I don't want vision, I'm good. I'm good, I love being blind, and I love that she loves herself.
They're not actually that terrifying.
in the Zevely Zone, Jeff Zevely.
Oh, I love that. All right, let's head over to Texas now to meet a young girl who's exhibiting some model behavior. Octavia Castillo is small but mighty. She is fighting cancer. And as Sean Gigi explains, a little Octavia is always looking for the light, even in the darkest times.
A dark blue square.
When 6-year-old Octavia Castillo was diagnosed with cancer, she understandably thought about her hair. And just how wonderful losing it might be.
She's like, I'm really excited to see what my head looks like without any hair.
And she was like pulling it out by chunks and saying, can we put this in a baggie to give it to birds?
Octavia's parents, Jessica and Silvino,
She's just able to see the bright side and everything.
say she's always been thoughtful.
This one.
Something even Jennifer Arthur, CEO of Children's Cancer Fund,
Pink.
noticed.
Perfect.
The organization helps bear the burden of cancer, both financially and emotionally,
Thank you.
to make childhood feel as typical as possible.
I've been doing lots of decorations like these.
These activities allow kids to be themselves,
And watch bubbles pop out.
which for Octavia means drawing attention to others.
She'll spend hours during her free time making these crafts for people. And it's something that just shows how caring she is as a person.
Because Octavia does so much for others, Children's Cancer Fund did something for her.
Octavia Castillo.
Friday, Octavia and about 20 other kids with cancer will walk the runway. Models for the organization's 35th annual fashion show, its biggest fundraiser of the year. The announcement was made earlier this year.
She is so excited.
She's telling everybody she knows that she's going to be a model.
She has been practicing her runway walk. We have a mirror in our hallway, and she's just posing,
The kids will pose with notable Dallasites like co-chairman Dak Prescott and Troy Aikman.
No more sneak peeks.
No more.
Forever. Ooh.
But make no mistake, Octavia and the other kids will be the most important people on that stage.
I got some gifts.
Not because they need our attention or pity, but because we need
We want to get rid of cancer,
their example,
so no one can have it again.
putting the needs of others above her own.
I do.
Model behavior.
Oh, of course, I need ready.
In Dallas, I'm Sean Giggy.
She has great energy. Octavia is a rare treasure. She's just 6 years old and she's already thinking of other folks before herself. We are all rooting for you, little Octavia. I hope we get a great update. All right, moving on to Texas now. One man wore his school pride right on his finger. That is, until it was lost 6 decades ago. But recently, a stranger made a shiny discovery, which happens to be the ring. Sydney Walker shows us his efforts to get the jewelry back to its owner.
Albert M. Thomas worked hard to be an Aggie.
He was really into Aggie, everything, wore his ring proudly every day. I mean, I never saw him without it on.
He would work one semester and attend A&M the next. In January of 1961, Thomas graduated with a degree in industrial education from A&M and became a civil engineer. It was around this time that he lost his beloved Aggie ring.
I think it really tore him up.
That brings us to Bob Turner with Standing Liberty Metal Detecting. He made an incredible discovery last month when searching a plot of land in Bryan.
So I turned over a spade of dirt, and there it was, just shining right at me with straight up with the 59. First thing I saw was that 59, and I knew immediately what it was.
Turner shared his discovery on Facebook. The post has since been shared over 1,400 times and flooded with comments about helping return the ring to its owner.
You got to return that. It's disrespectful not to melt it. I got 3 or 4 of those.
Thomas's daughter, Sue, didn't even know her father had lost his original ring.
After they had reached out, we pieced it all together and realized that it really was Dad's ring. It had been lost for 63 years.
One former Aggie who saw Bob's post reached out.
And my son sent a text to me. He said, hey, a guy just reached out to me on LinkedIn, wanted to know if I was the grandson of Albert M. Thomas. He said, do you think this is real? And then they found his ring, and I said, well, he lost a ring.
Both kids traveled to College Station today to finally see their dad's lost ring. Albert M. Thomas passed away in 2011, but his proud Aggie spirit lives on.
The only thing I regret is that he's not alive to see it.
Yeah.
It would have been great. He would have just gone crazy.
Oh my goodness, that was Sydney Walker reporting, and I'm glad that his children were able to get that piece of their father's memory. Alrighty, now to a different accessory, but this one is saving lives. When a baby enters the world, there is a lot of attention on the new bundle of joy, but who's looking out for mom? Ashley Smith shows us how a simple bracelet is helping moms through the postpartum process.
When new moms head home from the hospital, their focus is usually only on their baby. Registered nurse Jennifer Kennard says that needs to change.
You have to put yourself first because the only reason that baby is here is because of that mom.
Kennard works in the mother-baby unit at Centera Norfolk General.
The biggest misconception is that they're out of the woods once they have the baby. That's simply not true.
Thanks to a program she helped launch last November, every new mom now goes home with a bright pink I gave birth bracelet.
I put the bracelet on. I say, hey, this is a reminder to you, to your family, and to any healthcare provider that you come into contact with that you had a baby, you're in the postpartum period, and you require unique care.
Every year, 700 women die from pregnancy-related complications in the U.S., nearly half after delivery. Kennard says Black women are 3 times more likely to die than white women, and symptoms like headaches, swelling, or fatigue can be easy to dismiss.
We need to figure out why these symptoms are happening because these are early warning signs of something much, much more dangerous.
The bracelet also helps first responders act fast and make smarter decisions.
I've spoken with all the fire departments within Hampton Roads, emergency services. I've also spoken with the Nightingale flight crew so they can quickly identify the signs and symptoms that would prompt them to immediately take them to a women's health facility.
And Kinnard hopes it serves as a visual cue for family and friends to check in on mom.
Everyone knows a mother, everyone came from a mother, and we need to prioritize their health if they are focused on their baby, rightfully so.
That's right. If you have a friend or a loved one who recently gave birth, check in on them. Offer to bring them dinner, maybe help out with some laundry or some other household chores. Just be of service to them. And that was Ashley Smith reporting. Now, we have much more ahead on Featured. Here's a look at what's coming up. The beauty of the past. We take you to a classroom where cultural traditions are alive and well. Plus, this one made me laugh. A flight that had a former Destiny's Child member singing, "I'm a survivor." Remember that one? We'll tell you what she saw that had her in disbelief. And coming up a little bit later, love conquers all. Even a wedding mishap underwater that almost destroyed priceless memories. You don't want to miss that one. Welcome back. I'm taking you to an art class now where painting is only part of the craft. There is a much bigger picture that connects the past with the present. Jessica Hart is a hide artist who is keeping her ancestors' traditions alive in Minnesota.
I have some hides here.
Stories aren't always told through books.
You start in the middle and you work out.
Stories are sometimes told through art.
It's a gift, and I embrace it.
An art Fern Cloud has mastered.
I've been doing this for 30 years, traditional buffalo hide painting.
Hide painting is how Fern's ancestors told their stories.
A lot of people do hide painting.
But none of those people quite like her.
Doing it just the way our ancestors did, using buffalo bone brushes, willow sticks, natural paint pigment. These are the bone brushes. If you pick one up and look at it, you'll see it's like a sponge. It's porous.
No stores centuries ago, but fields of buffalo.
Using every part of the buffalo was essential, I think, for our survival. And we honored the buffalo.
Nothing wasted.
So this is the genius of our ancestors, of using natural things.
So she wastes nothing.
Our people use these as containers for putting paint in there. It could be at a joint.
Fern serves as the ligament between past and present.
I always say every time I work on a hide, I feel a connection to my ancestors and all those, that came before me.
A connection she doesn't want to fade away.
I've never met another Dakota hide painter. I'm sure they're out there, but I've never met any.
It's why she introduces new people.
The willow stick has this porous center.
To old techniques.
So I can make this real sharp for a fine, or just leave it dull for a line.
This is really hard to do, especially using the traditional tools, so I have a lot of respect for traditional hide painters.
Genesis Fonder is learning her hands aren't always in control.
I think that it makes a more unique product because you don't have as much control.
And that's the beauty of reviving an age-old art.
My passion is to preserve what our ancestors created. I really don't know where they would find this information. Wow, that's interesting that you did the background all green. I really like that.
So Fern keeps painting.
This is going to be a flower.
Planting seeds of her people's story.
Really good to see.
Along the way.
Once you worked with bone brushes, it's just so fun.
In St. Paul, Jessica Hart.
Alrighty, now I want you to think about your dream home. Does it have an Olympic pool? Maybe a 3-car garage. What about a huge walk-in closet? Well, imagine having all of that, but you realize the space wasn't as big as you thought. Yeah. Disappointed is an understatement for sure, but there is one company in Ohio who is helping homeowners and developers spot potential problems before the first wall goes up. Matt Raskin shows us an innovative approach that is changing the game in the construction industry.
What looks great on blueprints might not always work in reality. A local businessman experienced that firsthand, prompting him to look for a solution. You'll find his fix inside the former St. James Elementary School gym in Lakewood. It's called Walk Your Plans.
That's where we take architecture blueprints, we project them to scale so you can walk your blueprint before you build or remodel to make sure your space is going to work the way you want it to.
From families building their dream homes to developers creating office spaces, many have walked their plans, modifying their blueprints and saving money.
The average person who comes through here per hour makes anywhere from 10 to 20 changes to their blueprint. And if you figure one change order typically costs maybe $2,500, if you save 10, that's a $25,000 savings.
The immersive experience is created by 7 IMAX projectors covering a 25,000 square foot space. Clients step into new spaces as their plans slide beneath their feet with notes about changes projected in real time. The technology has worked so well, it led to an unexpected discovery.
We had no idea, quite frankly, that we could use our technology for this.
An immersive event space available for rent on evenings and weekends. It can transport guests to a beach in Portugal.
A yoga studio uses this. They rent the space from us like once a month. This allows you to kind of, immerse yourself in an entirely different environment.
Walk Your Plans has thrived for over 2 years and is now licensed in 28 territories across the U.S. with plans for global expansion.
I really do think that this is going to change the way construction is done across the country and maybe across the world.
The company went viral on social media with over 200 million views, which led to more than 3,500 inquiries about opening additional locations, all starting in that former gym in Lakewood.
Your home is typically your biggest investment, right? Why not get what you want, right? And that's what we provide.
Making sure your house will feel like home.
Now, I imagine this is also beneficial for folks, who just need to see it to believe it. I'm one of those people. Alrighty, that was Matt Raskin reporting. It is time for a short break, but don't go too far. Still ahead, a 30-foot drop that left a vehicle submerged in a creek, and the new friendship that led to the remarkable rescue, plus not conforming to social norms. The unconventional decision this bride made on her big day, and we'll tell you why it went viral. Welcome back. Let's talk about flight etiquette. Now, there are most definitely some unspoken do's and don'ts for passengers. And unfortunately, for former Destiny's Child singer Michelle Williams, she found out some people really make themselves at home during a flight. Check this out.
I was almost defeated. My seat was 3F, and I didn't know the F was going to be for feet.
In the video, the singer said while she was on a flight to New York City, she saw something out of the corner of her eye, and when she turned and looked, I want you to check this out. Do you see that? A bare foot invading her cabin space. I would die. Now, there were many jokes in the comments like, Jesus, take the heel, and that passenger needs to learn how to toe the line. Now, the Broadway star also made light of the situation, saying she was almost defeated. You get it, but she made it out all right, which is also a pun on the gospel song, I Made It Out. Now, Michelle's better than me because I got to keep it real with you guys. I might have smacked that person's foot, something, poured a little water on it or something. Don't put your feet next to me. No. And that's what Miss Tina said, Beyonce's mom. She would have done the same thing. So we see each other, Miss Tina. Alrighty, moving on to our next story here. A fashion designer whose work has been featured in Vogue and Harper's Bazaar showed folks fashionable doesn't have to mean pricey. Check this out.
I had an idea as a fashion designer to give back to the community by giving somebody the couture dress of their dreams.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, Evan Hirsch bought this dress, rather. It was just $6 from a Goodwill's thrift store. We love a good thrift store. Now, his intentions were to transform it into a custom designed piece without the expensive price tag. Hirsch spent over 50 hours stitching more than 2,000 beads by hand. Oh my goodness, talk about dedication. Now, when he was done, he took it back to Goodwill for a lucky shopper to fall in love with and take home. Wow, I would love if he just happened to make about 8 or 9 of those dresses so my bridesmaids could wear them and get them at a low, low price at a thrift store. I love that. Now, speaking of brides, my big day is coming up, but let's talk about this one. You know, a lot of brides, they look forward to getting the full glam session on their big day, but one bride has gone viral for embracing a more natural look. Let's check it out. Kaylin Chapman said, "I don't" to cosmetics on her wedding day. Now, on TikTok, Chapman shared she never wore makeup before, and she chose to do what made her most comfortable. Now, to her surprise, the video attracted more than 25 million views, and there were a lot of folks in the comment section. One user wrote, "You don't need it. You looked gorgeous." And I agree. That is a beautiful bride. Alrighty, that is up for our trending segment. Here's a look at what's next. Washing away troubles. We'll tell you how a hot shower is bringing hope to a community in Texas. Plus, the resurrection of an ancient wolf. If you love Game of Thrones, you don't want to miss this story, how science brought it back from extinction. Sticking around with us on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you some uplifting stories from across the country. Now, we all know that saying, be kind. You never know what someone else is going through. Acts of kindness are on full display at a Virginia school. Sean Martinelli shows us how recognizing the small stuff can make a big impact.
Perhaps it's a sign of the times. Here at Kilmer Middle School in Vienna, Virginia, behavior referrals are at an all-time high. Have you seen anything like this before?
You know, a lot of people say, you know, middle school is a tough age.
Principal Steve McFarland showed us the numbers.
1,600, yeah.
1,600 referrals this year and counting. Only not for the reason you might think.
So this is something where it's like, your teacher's proud of you.
Instead of being tucked away, these write-ups are on proud display. One notes a student who helped pick up trash in the cafeteria. Another for being kind to a brand new classmate. This one for simply always coming to class smiling.
Whenever I walked by and I saw the entire cafeteria wall just covered, I was like, that is so awesome.
For students, those small scraps of paper carry a big influence.
I think that program deserves to be in every school.
How did it make you feel when you got the referral?
Really positive about myself.
I really appreciate that someone really believes in me. I told my mom and she was really happy for me because she often tells me these things, and her being my mom, I don't often listen to her.
When their principal hears those words.
It tells you everything about the power of adults recognizing kids for just who they are, and when they think no one's looking, and them just doing the right thing. Words and actions matter more than you ever know.
That's coming from a man who still remembers a teacher who recognized him.
It was actually a science class, 7th grade science class, that I was struggling in, and what that meant to me and what that meant to my family at the time.
The impact still felt decades later.
Absolutely. If we're able to take that time to just pat someone on the back, to say you're doing the right thing, that's going to pay dividends and more than we can ever quantify.
And that's enough to justify these citations in kindness.
Now, if no one told you today, you are more than capable of achieving your goals. Lock in. You can do it. All right, that was Sean Martinelli reporting. Now, moving on to our next story here, many of us, we don't have to think twice about picking out a clean outfit or grabbing something to eat. However, for the houseless community, they often go long periods of time without basic needs or even a hot shower. Brittany Moncrief takes us out to Dallas, where one nonprofit is helping to restore dignity for people who don't have stable housing.
The misconceptions can blur the truth.
Not everybody on the streets are on drugs. Not everybody on the streets because we want to.
But Erica Guridi was a victim of a robbery and assault, and that's what led her to being homeless. But at the same time,
God has his perfect plans and his perfect time.
It's led her here to Tyler Street Community Outreach in Oak Cliff. Every 2 weeks, they give food to those in need.
I like to shower.
But what really hits home for Erica is this: street-side showers.
It feels like heaven. It feels like heaven. You don't know how much I love the shower. It really makes me cry because it's a blessing for me.
We want to help them forget that they were homeless.
Lance Olinsky started Street-Side Showers in 2017.
Our mission is to bring hope and help restore human dignity.
Making 9 weekly stops throughout the DFW.
In the form of a hot shower.
They provided more than 50,000 showers
and personal hygiene care
to unhoused individuals, along with clothes.
Every community is struggling right now, and people are falling on hard times a lot quicker than we can actually keep up with. It's not a luxury item. It's just a basic human need.
Given with privacy and respect.
Homelessness is a very complicated issue, but yet it's not a personality trait.
People judge you because of the way you look like.
But looking past the judgment, it's this: restoring dignity.
I could tell you I feel sorry for myself, but I'm happy because I got everything I need. Now I have faith in God and he got better plans for me.
And that's Erica's truth. In Oak Cliff, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
A scary moment caught on camera for a North Carolina family. The car they were traveling in crashed into a creek, landing upside down in the water. Oh my goodness. But luckily, 3 strangers just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Austin Walker shows us how the group jumped into action to help save everyone in the vehicle.
Eric?
It's truly unexpected.
We all met each other a week ago as well. On the internet, yeah.
Starting with their friendship.
I saw him on TikTok.
Each with their own window cleaning company in different parts of the U.S., Caleb urging others to come to Charlotte to make money together.
Booked that flight. Yeah, I literally booked a flight, not knowing this guy in person, never met him.
There for a week, with a Monday that nothing seemed to go as planned. Alexander forced to play a game of basketball.
I suck at basketball.
Eventually working up an appetite.
The closest thing to us was wings. I couldn't send the address to my other friend.
Unexpectedly ending up here at a North Charlotte cookout.
We're next in line, and then a car in the drive-thru just revs on the gas. Everyone hears it. This person turned right over a curb and then just disappeared.
Alexander saying he sprung into action.
It was just kind of it felt like instinct. He jumped over the drive-thru railing,
propelling down the at least 20-foot drop, trying to get the driver out.
Me and him, AJ, were screaming our heads off, trying to get these doors just to open a little bit. And he's holding her head just barely above the water, where her nose and her mouth is just out of the water, so she's breathing. And he's trying to comfort her, it's okay, it's okay.
They got them out of the flipped-over car, partially submerged in water. But don't forget, others also came to Charlotte to make money and clean windows.
And a bunch of our other buddies in there made a human chain with their arms linked together to help pull them out of the steep mountain.
A day where everything seemed to go wrong.
Just a last-minute decision.
Until something went right.
Yeah, I'm glad we went to Cookout.
It's how unexpected moments intersect.
If we weren't there, it could have went differently, for sure.
You can surely expect the next time they shoot hoops together.
They have to play basketball with me every time now. Yeah.
They'll think back on this unexpected Monday, thankful that almost everything in their day went wrong.
Alrighty, that was Austin Walker reporting. Now listen to this. According to reports, the car fell 30 feet below into the creek. Just imagine how scary that was. Now, the guy said when they got to the car, it was filling up with water. Oh my goodness. So thankfully, they were there when they needed to be to rescue those folks. Alrighty, now imagine this. You just got married and you decided to take some of your wedding pictures near a lake. What could go wrong? Sounds like a good backdrop for wedding photos, right? Well, the unthinkable happened, and the photographer took a plunge into the water. As Kyle Simchuk shows us, all is not lost.
It was supposed to be a picture-perfect moment. Newlyweds Gurinder Singh and Valeria Perez had just finished their traditional Indian wedding when their photographer led them to Tempe Town Lake for a few final shots.
We told him to be careful because there's no bar. I just blinked my eye this side and he just fell.
Priceless photos lost at the bottom of Tempe Town Lake.
I was not worried about the camera, but I was worried about the madness.
He wants to say, oh, I can jump now and get it out, because it's not that deep. But we don't want to, take a risk or anything.
Desperate to get these wedding photos back, this photographer messaged the Tempe Fire Department on Instagram. Now, normally their dive team doesn't respond to these types of calls for service. People lose things in Tempe Town Lake all the time. But as luck would have it, they had a training dive scheduled.
And so we kind of just adjusted it and moved it over to the location of where the camera went missing. Everybody on the dive team just happened to be married, so we understood the importance of the wedding pictures as well.
3 divers went in, each spending about 20 minutes underwater feeling around for the camera, which at this point had been submerged for several days.
And it was the third last diver in the last few minutes of his dive operation that he found the camera.
The camera was destroyed, but the fire department's IT team dried and tested the memory card. Every photo was recovered.
I was really happy. I was, like I said, like I told them when we met them, I think that's the best wedding gift that we could get.
This story has another happy ending. Not only were the wedding photos saved, the photographer says insurance replaced his $5,000 camera.
I'm so thankful to the fire department, who really helped us. And there's not enough word to say thank you, even.
Oh, I love that great story from Kyle Simchuk, and I'm so glad it had a happy ending. We have more for you ahead on Featured. A preschooler with trash on his mind. We'll tell you how a love for garbage trucks sparked a mission to save the planet. Welcome back. We want to put a spotlight on a little boy named Barry. He is 5 years old and he is already helping to save the planet. Mike Bush introduces us to the pint-sized crusader who is turning trash talk into action.
We are going to find out where garbage goes, right?
At Clayton Early Childhood Center, the future looks bright and surprisingly well sorted.
What do they have to do?
Sort it out.
And to what? Where do they put it on?
Meet Will Berry.
And they make it into new things on different conveyor belts.
At 5 years old, his footprints are still small.
So, let's see.
But when it comes to saving the planet,
this old plastic.
he steps ahead of the rest of us.
These might actually take a little much too space.
Business manager Ann Brady found that out when Will stopped by with an unusual request.
We get a lot of Amazon deliveries, and Will used to stop by the desk, and he would ask every evening, do you have any cardboard boxes? He has a passion for recycling.
While most preschoolers are captivated by dinosaurs or superheroes, Will's fascination comes in a less glamorous package, with wheels and a hydraulic lift.
It's because I like garbage trucks so much because I like the dumping and unpacking of them working.
His father, Patrick, says this isn't just a passing phase between trains and race cars.
We started on this trash adventure when he was really little, and he's been on it and just keeps growing.
By age 3, Will's birthday wish wasn't for toys or a bounce house, but something that might make other kids hold their noses.
We were actually able to convince Waste Management to come to his birthday party.
Wait a second, he had a birthday party at Waste Management?
Well, yeah, Waste Management brought a truck here, actually.
Recycling bins now stand proudly in classrooms as Will's classmates have joined the cause.
So that's what we're doing. We're trying to help our environment.
But Ann still remembers that first mission.
Will and I decided to make a trip over to the recycling bin in the park, and we've been doing it ever since.
Come on, get the wheels going.
Don't let his height fool you. This kindergartner-to-be can explain the entire waste management ecosystem with surprising clarity.
And where do they take the trash?
To the landfill and dump.
And where do they take the recycling?
To the recycle facility.
And Will's commitment runs so deep, he authored his own illustrated guide to garbage collection just for me.
Thank you very much. You're very talented.
Perhaps the most impressive thing about this pint-sized environmental crusader, who even dressed as a waste collector for Halloween, is how he's inspiring others.
I've had parents come up to me and say, hey, my kids are telling me I need to recycle because if I don't, Will's going to hear about it.
Yeah. Let's get the big stuff out and then dump the tiny stuff.
As Will prepares to take his talents to kindergarten, his environmental mission isn't going anywhere.
They'll figure it out just like this goes.
In Clayton, a 5-year-old is showing us all that saving the planet isn't child's play.
Are you going to run to the dumpster?
But maybe it should be.
Great story from Mike Bush. And now let's meet another little one the world should watch out for. 8-year-old Raya Howard. Get a look at this. She is the youngest person to hold the title of strongest girl in the U.S. for ages 13 and under. Look at her go. She recently took the title at the Arnold Sports Festival. Howard is also a 3-time, look at her, she got it up. Okay, you go, girl. I could take some notes from her. She's a 3-time American record holder and a 2-time national champion in Olympic weightlifting. And when she's not in the weight room, this power is on the football field or the wrestling mat. Love it. You go, girl. Now, staying on the gridiron, young girls are flocking to the field to play flag football. It is one of the fastest growing sports in the country. And as Brady Frederick explains, the game will soon make its way to a world stage.
The sport is growing in popularity around the country and now set to debut in the 2028 Olympics. They're expecting that growth to skyrocket. At Saturday's clinic, Linnea Bryan, a member of the U.S. women's national team, told the girls her path to the world stage.
I guess you could consider it a little unorthodox. It's been an amazing experience. I've got to travel the world now playing flag football. I've got to go to Mexico, Finland, all these different places.
Linnea's true love was always football, but there were better opportunities to play basketball. She ended up playing in college for New Mexico.
I played football in recess, but I never played football in an organized manner.
After graduating, she found an opportunity to play, joining a women's flag football league where she stood out and eventually earned an opportunity to join the U.S. national team. Last summer, she intercepted a late pass to secure gold for Team USA in the World Championship.
We thought it was really critical to get somebody in off the national team to give these girls an idea of what's possible. Her story to these girls says, this is what you can do.
The focus of the day was on basic fundamentals with an emphasis on having fun.
Once they start playing, they're so excited, they love it, they have a great time.
Traveling to clinics across the country, Linnea says the growing passion for the game is no surprise, especially as it becomes more accessible.
These girls just need a space and an opportunity. I've met a ton of girls that didn't play sports before, but now that there's a flag football opportunity, they're like, heck yeah, I want to play, which is awesome, right? Getting them involved, getting them in a community, having that camaraderie, having that competitive edge. It's so important, and it translates to much more than sports, right?
OYF hopes that eventually girls flag football will become an IHSAA sanctioned sport. In the meantime, they're building a foundation by making sure girls have the opportunity to play.
We've seen some of those girls come out into our league and play, and they're like, wow, this is for me. It's tremendous, and I think it's awesome that we are building that momentum here in Idaho.
We love being there, and again, it fits our mission as a nonprofit that we're here to grow the game of football.
That was Brady Frederick reporting, and I love that those young ladies have something like that program available now. I would have loved if that was around when I was younger. I used to be out in the neighborhood with the local boys playing football, playing catch, learning how to do all that. I wasn't afraid to get dirty. That's probably why I think I'm unstoppable now. I can do anything. Played a role in that for sure. And coming up, a photographer with a massive portfolio shares why he is on a decades-long journey to capture all animals known to mankind. Welcome back. A world-famous photographer is on an ambition mission to document every living animal species on Earth. Ooh, that's a big task. Well, just think of Noah's Ark, but instead of a ship, it's a picture. Troy Hayden shows us how he is capturing stunning, rare images that you can only see in one place.
Bebop, the bicolored spined porcupine, is not your typical cover model, but one of the most famous photographers in the world came here to the valley to get a perfect shot.
We photograph tigers and gorillas and elephants, but really the photo arc's built for the smaller things that people will have never heard of before.
Joel Sartori is working on an ambitious project called Photo Arc, a plan from National Geographic to photograph all 25,000 species of animals known to be in human care. And he works with a lot of the smaller ones. Like this, the Derby's woolly opossum. Sartori travels the world finding animals like this, fitting them sometimes into tiny studios, or even nudging larger animals to get in front of big backdrops, getting amazing shots.
The one light failed, but it still looks kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah.
We caught up with Joel at the Wildlife World Zoo in the West Valley. It's the second time he's photographed animals here. During this session at the zoo, he worked with species like mule deer, the zoo staff carefully placing food in front of the backdrop so Joel could get a great shot. And he got pictures of lesser-known animals like the black-tailed hairy dwarf porcupine, the unique-looking curassow, the purplish-backed jay, an ocellated turkey, and a fallow deer.
We're trying to photograph every captive species in the world over about a 25-year period or so to just get the public to realize there's so much amazing wildlife out there. It's worth saving. It's really worth saving.
Sartori spent 2 days here in the valley, crossing nearly a dozen animals off of his list, adding to the arc. He spends a lot of time in zoos for his work and thinks they serve a very important purpose in this digital age.
A good zoo where there's abundant attention and care and a lot is an education center. They're not only conservation centers, but they are teaching the next generation that these animals are amazing. And I just think when we lose good zoos, good aquariums, and that educational component where people can go and see and smell and hear, sometimes touch a wild animal, it changes people. It makes them realize that it's a really big deal to save these and their habitats.
With a little more than 8,000 animals left to photograph to reach his goal, Sartori always has to look ahead to completely load up the arc.
It's all fascinating to me, and people ask me what my favorite is, and I always say the next one. The next one. How could it be any different, right?
Alrighty, that was Troy Hayden reporting out. As of today, there are more than 16,600 species in the photo arc, and he's traveled all over the world for the past 25 years. He's not stopping anytime soon. I love that. As a kid, I loved picking up a Nat Geo magazine and checking out all the photos, and I used to hope to become one of those Nat Geo photographers one day. I guess it's not too late, or maybe I can at least do the narration in one of their documentaries. All right, let's move on to our next story. If you're a Game of Thrones fans, you'll like this one. These are 3 baby dire wolves, which is a big deal. Here's why. Their species went extinct 13,000 years ago. Biotech company Colossal Biosciences claims to have genetically resurrected them by using DNA from a 13,000-year-old tooth, and a 72,000-year-old skull. Now, you may recognize the animal from the popular HBO series Game of Thrones. That was a good show. And they look so cute. We definitely need a follow-up on their development to see, how long they live. Do they plan to reproduce other little baby dire wolves and bring them out of extinction? Maybe they can get some real ones for Game of Thrones or a spin-off of the show in the future. Alrighty, that is it for Featured. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, make it a great one.